Echo Point Nova is the game that will make you say hell yeah. You see, you never got a Titanfall 3 is what I hear. But fret not, my children. Echo Point Nova is here for the rescue. You see, it is the exact type of game where you will be using your hoverboard to do sick tricks, then do a backflip into shooting a rocket launcher that then boosts you slightly further, so you then swap your sniper rifle to hit the weak point of a mech that then explodes, boosting you slightly further into a glide on the side of a mountain that then reloads your sniper rifle, where you then go to another trick shot, the perk Ricochet procs, and then you hit 2 guys instead of 1. That is the type of game Echo Point Nova is, and it is incredible. It is built for speed, and I can genuinely not tell you how excited that I am today to talk about it. Echo Point Nova is a movement shooter in the shortest of terms. It's a game where you get a hoverboard and multiple upgrades for that hoverboard that allow you to build up speed by being good at the game. Things such as being able to summon your hoverboard at the exact right time, giving you an extra speed boost, or you being able to make ice pools that will make you go even faster. There's a lot of different ways that your playstyle will change across Echo Point Nova, but one thing remains the same. It's a game that is super easy to understand and surprisingly easy to get into. You see, one thing that I immediately feared playing Echo Point Nova, seeing all of the sick tricks and all of the stuff that you need to do, is that I just couldn't do it. But the reality is, Echo Point Nova is actually fairly easy to understand, and the game is super forgiving both on the way that you hit enemies, killing them and so on. It's a game that teaches you the basics of its mechanics first, where you might struggle a little bit with them, but as you play through the game, you will eventually click with it, and it will become this sort of zen state where you will be using your hoverboard to build up speed, avoiding bullets and other enemies, while also gliding on the sides of walls to get more ammo, eventually doing a backflip so you can use your time slowing perk, and then doing a shot while you're there floating with your head down facing towards the enemies. You'll start shooting them, taking them out using the slow motion that you have just had. Or alternatively, you will learn the exact right timing and how to guide your bullet when enemies are running and you're going at Mach 5 to actually hit them. It's a game that makes you feel incredible, is the shortest way I can describe it, and one that genuinely surprised me in just how good shooting feels. Because you see, to start off with, yeah, you will struggle through the game. It's gonna be a little bit hard. I even have moments where I just use the hoverboard to get around, but then I wouldn't actually kill the enemies while being on the hoverboard or like jump off it. But as I progressed through the game, I started to learn how to use the hoverboard. You see, things like your hoverboard is much more than just a simple movement tool. It will not only allow you to glide directly up through different sliders and walls and glide on walls, it will also allow you to push enemies. It will allow you to build up momentum that you can use to avoid bullets. Your grapple will be used in the exact same way. You see, you have a grappling hook in Echo Point Nova, and as you play through it, you'll get more and more charges on it, meaning that you can grapple onto more and more things. And to begin with, your grapple hook is just an old grappling hook. But then as you start to play, you start to understand that even without any upgrades, it recharges your jump meter, meaning that you can go further. And you can use it to build up a decent bit of momentum when you're going, let's say, upwards. On top of that, you can grapple onto things like clouds, allowing you to traverse big sections of the map without ever landing. It is genuinely, truly super cool. And that's not even getting into like the different movement tech that you can also do here. Things like rocket grappling makes a glorious return from Destiny, where if you shoot your rocket launcher and grapple onto it, you can use the momentum that is built up from the rocket to carry you across map. It is incredibly cool to see a game that has completely leaned into this freedom to do and move however you want. And that is really the truest sense of Echo Point Nova. Because you see, there is a story in here somewhere, but I'll be honest, I didn't really pay attention to it. Because for me, the game was about getting from one set piece to the next, to the next, to the next. As, yeah, most of the game is you staying around the big open world and then doing these scans that are essentially just kill 30 enemies. And then later on, once you have completed the game, you might get the bonus scans, which are complete these, like, kill these 30 enemies under these new circumstances. That can be things like only headshots or only using rocket launchers but you have infinite ammo. Stuff like that. And it is equally fun fun and all that. But where the game really gets addictive is that you can get different upgrades, you see. There are a lot of different weapons, each of them having their own leveling tree, and when I say tree, I mean there's 3 levels to them and they get different attachments and eventually skins. So after you've killed, I think it's 90 enemies in total, then you will unlock the skins, the last upgrade for each weapon. And honestly, it's just a nice little trophy, but they actually do change when you play and you find new ones. So you see, when you have used enough of the Stalin revolver, it eventually will get things like a scope. Maybe will get an extended barrel. Some guns will get a silencer. The rocket will get a HE round. Like, there's a bunch of these different changes that makes your weapon new and feel fresh. And on top of that, there's just a shit ton of different weapons. You can have 6 weapons on you at a time. You have your normal revolver and SMG. You can have an LMG if you want a scout rifle. You can have a bunch of different stuff on you. But you have like a total of 6 on you at a time. But there are different variations of each category of weapon. So for your handgun, for your revolver, you might have different versions of the revolver. My favorite being the auto. That is a literal auto shooting pistol. It's just a fully automatic pistol and it allows you to just spray down enemies. I genuinely really like it. I think it's really cool because a lot of the weapons are unlocked through exploration and eventually also completing the challenges. Things like the explosive scout. That is a scout rifle that, funnily enough, explodes when you shoot it. And it is incredibly strong and is, in my opinion, one of the best weapons in the game, bar none. And you'll just unlock that while exploring past like the end of the game. It's pretty fucking cool in my opinion. And the fact of the matter is it doesn't need a bunch of extra stuff, but it does have it. There's things like the agility orbs, which you'll collect and then you'll get a level that will increase your speed in some way. This can be things like increasing your jump amount, but also increasing your grapple amount, eventually giving you unlimited grapple so you can just grapple as much as you want. Things like that are also in the game. On top of all of that I just described, you have different perks that completely change up how you play the game. Perks in this game is handled basically like a skill that you can activate or deactivate at any point after unlocking it, and they are unlocked through just exploring and completing more scans. Some of these will be less impactful, such as the one that's called Piata that makes enemies explode when you hit them with your hammer into like this Piata confetti thing. But there's also incredibly useful perks, such as Ricochet, that allows you to shoot near an enemy and then have the bullets bounce back onto the enemy. And in some cases, if you have a shoot through rounds, you can even have your enemies being shot through and then the bullets hitting the wall bouncing back to another enemy. Or maybe if you're playing the secret game mode, or well, not the secret game mode, but the other game mode that also exists in the game, called Under the Clouds, you can even unlock explosive rounds for your shotgun. And it is as powerful as it sounds. It is incredibly good. And there's a lot of these different perks that do different things. Or the ammo regeneration on gliding, yeah, that's a perk. It's incredibly fucking cool. And some of them fundamentally change how you interact with the game itself. And I really enjoy that. Things like being able to get more speed by summoning your hoverboard at the right time fundamentally changed how I used the hoverboard. And it made it into a thing where while I was shooting, I was just doing a slight jump and then summoning my hoverboard to proc that perk over and over and over to build up more and more momentum so I could avoid damage and also just go faster because it was fun. Things like that, in my opinion, are so fucking cool, and it's one of the reasons why Echo Point Nova definitely will make you say hell yeah. I mean, for God's sake, this is one of those games where you'll be slinging yourself around while the floor's lava at 1 HP and still manage to come out on top. And all of this is not even covering the game's major fights, the boss fights, so to speak. And they happen to be with these giant creatures where you will climb into them and then they'll have weak points that you gotta go and find. These mecha creatures will then have weak points and different enemy types spawning in them that you'll then have to kill or avoid, all while using the game's mechanics. And as you go through them, you will unlock new abilities. They are very much Bioshock inspired, it feels like. Or rather they are, it's literally part of one of the devlogs that you will see in the other game mode. But as you unlock them, they'll do different things. So one of them is a jump pad. The other one can build up momentum. There's a third that will allow you to go through steel in the game. It's incredibly cool, and all of them feel fresh and unique from each other. They all use that area as a gimmick, so to speak. It's pretty fucking cool and a thing that I really enjoy. and I let it slip a little bit. But in the other game mode, there's another game mode that isn't taking place in the sky, but one that is taking place underneath the sky on solid ground. And on top of this, there's an entire other game mode to Echo Point Nova that is called Under the Clouds, and to activate it, you have to just select Under the Clouds while you're creating a new character. And that is essentially sort of a devlog testing ground for the developer, I felt like, where they've just added some things to it to make it playable, a few scans and so on. And there's an entire completionist thing that you can do there. That is where you unlock things like the explosive rounds for a shotgun, but in that area, because there aren't as many crevices that you can fall through, it is a lot easier to build up a lot of speed. It's also where a lot of these movement mechanics that I'm talking about really become relevant, because all of a sudden you will actively be using them to move around the map, to go faster, things like building up the extra speed and so on. It's really fun, and it's a unique addition to the game that just, in my opinion, adds a bunch of value. Like having another 20 plus scans, another 20 plus missions, so to speak, for you to take on, I think is honestly a really good decision that makes the initial money that you spend on Echo Point Nova just feel worth more, as this is not a paid DLC. And on top of that, there's a roguelike game mode that you can also play from Echo Point Nova. That is essentially just you going to different scans in a roguelike fashion, them adding challenges on top as you're going, making it harder and harder and harder until you eventually defeat the final wave of enemies. It is, in my opinion, not the funnest thing in the world, and it takes a little bit of the exploration away, but I really enjoyed the combat, so it didn't matter. And by God, the final round is hard as shit. You're gonna be going 7 rounds in a row. If you lose the run, and if you have a good run going, you have good weapons and so on, you do not want to lose it. And all of it is randomized, so you can have the chance of just being fucked on weapons, just getting weapons that you don't like, even though they might be usable and other people would love that. Then like for you it might not be the case. In my case, I was super lucky and got like 4 out of 6 weapons that I really enjoyed using. And on top of that, the perks are also randomized in this game mode. So yeah, you will absolutely be running around, you know, looking for certain perks, such as battering ram that allows you to use your skateboard or hoverboard to ram into an enemy and then get health. It's incredibly cool. There is a lot of that in the game, and I really enjoy the fact that the developers added this little addition to the game. It added a lot of extra flavor and honestly a lot of enjoyment, in my opinion. I really enjoyed my entire time with it. And Echo Point Nova is honestly really, really good for the price. I normally don't like to talk about value in a game and all of that, but in Echo Point Nova, for the price that you pay for the game, you get 3 different game modes and co-op for each one, with no paid anything else, and I think that's honestly just value on the front. And it's one of those things that I feel like I kind of have to point out, just because that is actually kind of unique. I've never really played a game where I just straight up get 3 different game modes in one. That's insane to me, and it's insane that it's been sold for the price that it's been sold for. It's an incredibly fun game, and one that genuinely, in my opinion, has gotten me into this idea of movement shooters and going fast. I fucking love it. For the 20 odd hours I spent with it until I 100% of the game, I have to admit I loved it. There wasn't a single point where I was like, this isn't for me, or I want less of it. I'm honestly already debating going for another playthrough, just because it is that fun. It is a really fun game, and on the surface, as you can see, it will definitely make you say, hell yeah. With all of that being said about Echo Point Nova though, that's about what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video, because I absolutely loved making this one. Echo Point Nova, it stands out as being super special to me. Maybe it's because it's the first movement shooter I've really gotten into, or maybe it's just because I love the visuals of the game, or the movement, or the shooting. I can't really tell, because all of it is pretty good. But what I do know is that if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you could leave a like, comment and subscribe, all of that good stuff. If you want to check out Echo Point Nova, I will leave a link to it in the description, so be sure to check that out. And with all that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day ahead of you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.